Hi, this is David Rizzo with Rogers Gardens, and welcome to this month's gardening checklist for July. So this month's checklist for July, I'll be going over some of the vegetables to plant, the herbs. I'll go through really into a lot of the summer perennials that are good to plant right now, that are the heat lovers, and then I'll talk a little bit about the other perennials, a little bit about seeds. So starting on July 11th, it's going to be hummingbird summer. So we'll have hummingbird plants, we'll have kits for the hummingbirds, and so we'll have a lot of stuff for the hummingbirds in July. So come in and see us. So some of the vegetables I'm going to be really keying in on this time of year. As we go into summer and it gets hotter, I'm looking at the heat lovers. And a lot of people think, oh, it's too late to plant them, it's too late to plant them, but now's the time. So looking at some of the stuff that I'm really keying in on, I'm doing all the zucchinis. This is a good zucchini from Ball Seeds, Ball Zucchini, good green zucchini. I'm doing my cantaloupes. Hale's Best, that's a good jumbo cantaloupe. I'm doing my watermelons like the Crimson Sweet. I could do the seedless Sugar Baby. I could do all of them. But the main thing when you're planting a lot of these like with the squash and with the zucchinis and with the cantaloupe and all this, you really want to make sure that you mend the soil where you plant them, water them really good, and fertilize them. Because the biggest thing, if you don't feed them enough, each plant will shoot out runners, and you'll get male flowers and female flowers. And if you don't feed them enough, you'll only get male flowers. And so the way to tell is a male flower has a stem with a flower. The female flower actually has a fruit behind the stem, even though it's not pollinated. So they need to cross-pollinate to really develop into that fruit. So it's very important to feed them really good so those flowers balance. So going on, so the watermelons are really good. Sometimes if you're closer to the coast, try to find a really hot area that gets a lot of heat, a lot of sun, near a wall, near a garage. Sometimes I will try the little mini watermelons. Sometimes mini fruited varieties sometimes have a better chance of producing on the coast. The big varieties like this Crimson Sweet, they're probably going to do better a little farther inland because this is a really large watermelon. It can be up to 15, 20 pounds, but good variety. And then I'll talk about seeds too, because I like, oh yeah, your pumpkins. Not too late to do pumpkins. You can do pumpkins right now. You can do the little ones like the Jack B. Littles. This is a good carving pumpkin that's just called jack-o'-lantern. There's Howdens. There's so many different varieties of pumpkins where a lot of people, they think they're too late because we're into July, but we're not. Now's the time because it seems like we start heating up later than we used to, but that's the thing. Don't be afraid to put them in. And so even, I'm going to go through seeds a little bit too. Beans, I can do beans from seeds. Emery is a really good variety of French haricot. It's a good pole bean. So, but these are such good producers. So you can direct sow them. We get them from Nate Seeds. Really good variety. Just really, beans want a lot of water, full sun and a lot of water, and a good trellis or a cage that's about 6 feet tall. Okay, so another really good one is the French filet bean. This is called nickel. Nickel is a bush bean. So plant these on the edge of your garden, raised bed. They don't get that tall. They'll get about a foot and a half tall. Very bushy, very good producer. Another thing, when you're growing string beans, as they start fruiting, the more you pick, the more you're going to get. So don't let them get really tough and seedy. So keep harvesting them, watering them. You really don't need to fertilize them that much. I usually just put down a little fertilizer like an organic vegetable food. Like the I use this one a lot for vegetables. The Bio Live, that's one of my favorites. So I do tend to mix that into the soil with my compost. If I'm doing the Malibu compost, the Harvest Supreme, I work that in before I plant. That way these will take it up. Some other ones that I'm doing right now, all the pumpkins. So like this is a really good one, the red warty thing. That's a really good pumpkin. And then the blue, the Queensland blue, the Jardinays, you can plant those right now. This is more of a cooking pumpkin. So these are a really good cooking pumpkin. And these are your carving pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern. Oh, there's a really good one too, like the little sugar pie. this is your pie pumpkin. So this is a really good one to do. And that's why I always want to bring up seeds, because I know a lot of people are afraid to do seeds. The most crucial thing with seeds, if you're direct sowing them into the ground or if you're planting them in pots, you don't put them really deep. You put them about a ½ inch deep, but the main thing is water. Water is crucial. So as they start to germinate, you want to keep the seeds pretty evenly moist so they germinate, and these germinate fast in about 7 to 10 days. And so, but that's the thing, is people let them dry out too much when they're germinating. So very important, for the first 2 weeks, they get enough water to establish their roots. And there's other zucchinis that I brought up that I like. You can do the butternut right now. This is one of my favorites, the Waltham butternut, the butternut squash. These are a vining squash, so you got to give them room because they want to run. So they want to vine around the garden. That's good. Another one of my favorites, it's hard to find plants, are the spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash are really good. I like to use those. Those are really good. They're going to start coming into the season right now. The gold zucchinis I like, the Max's Gold. The scallop squash are good right now. Both of these are bush varieties, so they're just going to get really bushy. I like the French too, the French round zucchinis. They're really good right now. Moving into other vegetables, the cucumbers. Like the Japanese cucumbers, the Mediterranean, I like the little munchers. This is a little Persian cucumber. These you can let, like these munchers, you can let them sprawl on the ground around your tomato plants. They don't vine really tall, so they'll only vine like 5 feet tall. These telegraphs, they're like an English cucumber. They'll vine a lot taller. So just depends on what you're growing. And then the Armenian cucumbers are so good. You know, the Armenian cucumbers, but plant them right now. Don't wait to plant them. Do the seeds right now, and then you'll get them germinating, and they'll grow really quick with the heat of the summer. I want to be talking about what herbs to plant. So right now I'm looking at some of the herbs that I still continue planting through summer. They might be culinary, they might be medicinal, but the ones I'm going to go into, so the main one that comes right now is the basil. So there's a lot of different varieties of basil that you can plant right now. I do the sweet basil, I'll do the holy basil. One of my favorite basils too for to bring in the pollinators is this African blue basil. Even though it's not as much of a culinary variety, it really is a good one to bring in the pollinators like the bees. The bees love this plant for the pollen, so it does help to pollinate certain fruits and vegetables. So that's very important. And when growing sweet basil, one of the things, a lot of people have trouble with it. Basil wants a lot of water, and basil likes hot weather. So as we get hotter, wants the hotter weather, but it wants really good water and drainage. So if it doesn't drain, if your soil doesn't drain at all, it can rot. So what I do is put it in a tall pot, put it in a raised bed, and you want that water to really drain. That's really important. And there's so many different varieties. And with sweet basil, don't let them bloom. Keep picking them and using it. Because once you let it go to bloom, it's going to try to go to seed, and you don't want to do that with basil. So basil, great variety to plant right now, but you have so many. You have Thai basils, cinnamon basil, but I love the sweet basil for pesto and for cooking into pasta and different uses like that, okay? That's the basil. So chives right now, you could do garlic chives, onion chives. Chives are a perennial, so they'll keep on coming back. Just put them in a good area that drains good. Try not to overwater them, but love the chives. The chives are coming in. I like the chamomile. The chamomile, if you guys like making your own teas, the chamomile, they harvest the flowers off this and dry it. So chamomile tea, that's a good one to do right now. I love the lemon verbena. This plant looks a little bit, but I love to pick this off for tea. This is the best lemon substitute, but all I like to do is I crunch the leaves down and sort of twist them, and I get the oils out of them. But I love lemon verbena in green tea. That's one of my favorites for green tea. Parsley's coming in. You could still do parsley. Parsley likes a lot of water, and sometimes put it in the shade. If you have a really hot garden, or if you're really in a hot location, put parsley in a little bit of shade. Likes the water, but sometimes not so much heat. All the varieties of thyme are coming in. This is my favorite, the English thyme. English thyme is your regular cooking culinary thyme, so love the English thyme. The sages I like. I really like this garden gray. This garden gray is really good one. The skinnier leafed like sages are really good for like the brown butter. So yeah, so the gray leaf, garden gray, thin leaf, they just sometimes call it thin leaf sages, but this is a really good variety of culinary sage. So this one, all the rosemaries are coming in. You have the barbecue. Barbecue is really good. I like the varieties that don't get so tall. So I know a lot of people ask me like, why don't you talk about Tuscan Blue? Because it just gets so big, and for most gardens, it's just gonna overgrow your garden. So I really do like the smaller rosemaries. Like I'll do Spice Island, I'll do barbecue, I'll do a couple, but I like the smaller varieties, and that's important. And rosemary is easy to grow as long as it gets enough water and gets enough sun. It's a good one. And two of the other ones, I know a lot of these two herbs, people always have a lot of problems with them. And the two are dill, the fernleaf dill, and the cilantro. So now the thing with both of these, they don't like really hot weather. So as it gets hotter, they struggle, they bolt, they go to seed. So the one recommendation I always do is I'll sometimes plant them in partial sun, or when they're done, I'll replace them. I'll constantly replant them. Because in the wintertime, cilantro will go all the way through winter. Oh, I've had it from November all the way until like February, March. But now it might only go for about 4 or 5 weeks. Dill is the same way. So both of these, they don't like heat. So keep trimming them. And even when these grow a little bit more, keep trimming them. And that way you keep them from bolting, but put them in a little bit of shade. Don't put them in such a hot area. I like to talk a little bit about what flowers are we really growing this time of year. What are the heat lovers? Because a lot of people ask me, what's a good flower for summer? And so I really like a lot of this stuff, and I pulled some. One of my favorites, I love Pentas. This is a little dwarf variety. This is called graffiti violet. So this is a really good one. I love the Pentas. Pentas are good heat lovers. They'll bloom all the way through summer into fall. The summer snapdragons, angelonias, that's a good one for fall. One of my favorite hummingbird flowers, this is called the cigar plant, or Kufia. They love the flowers on this. I don't know if you could see it. The nectar tends to sit into the back of the flower, and oh, this is a favorite. It's a fairly bushy plant. It'll get about 3 to 4 feet tall and about 3 to 4 feet wide. Likes a lot of sun. Will tolerate a little bit of partial sun, but the hummingbirds, they love this plant. But it's a Kufia or a cigar flower. This thing will bloom all summer long. Love that plant. I do like a lot of the little odd perennials. This is a variety of catmint. Which one is this? This is kitten around. So these are really good bloomers, and sometimes they'll bloom in spring into summer a little bit, but I love the catmint into a perennial garden. This is Nepeta fascinii, and oh, these are great because they just sort of hug along the ground, and they might get 3 to 4 feet wide and about 6 to 10 inches tall, but I love this plant, and the bees really like it too, so it's a good pollinator plant. So that's the catmint. Another one of my favorites that we're starting to see, I love the Veronica spicatas. So this is Veronica. Veronica is so good. These plants, some of them can get tall, about 2 to 3 feet tall, and they'll bloom through summer really good. This is a blue variety. They come in whites and pinks, and but oh, I love Veronica. Veronica spicata, Veronica speedwell. Love this little plant, man. Great perennial too. Another one that you don't see that's one of my favorite little odd perennials. They're called skull caps, and this is a cherry colored variety, but they're called scutellarias or skull caps. And these things will grow anywhere. I think they're native to parts of the Southwest, but they'll grow really little perennial, maybe 3 to 8 inches tall by about 1.5 feet wide. So good little perennial. I think they're a distant cousin to the salvias, but oh, I love this little plant. Scutellaria, skullcap, cherry skullcap. Other plants that I like that are coming in, I love the rudbeckias. Oh, the black-eyed Susans are starting to come in. So I love the rudbeckias. This is a variety called Chestnut Gold. Look how vibrant that is. So I love the rudbeckias are great. Other flowers, the brachycomb, the Swan River daisies are coming in. This is another really good one for blooming. All the salvias are coming in. So we're getting some good salvias. Salvias will get bigger as a plant. Hummingbirds love salvias. I always key in on more like the pinks and the reds and the whites. They love those colors. But this is a variety. This is lipstick. And this is more of a pink one that will split to a white. And so really good variety. Love all the salvias. The verbenas are good too. Verbenas are actually a good ground cover, but sometimes verbenas like it where it's hotter. So sometimes on the coast, verbenas can be a little bit hit and miss because they do like heat, but verbenas are good bloomers. Here's a good little perennial for your gardens, for rose gardens, the Nemesias. This is a really good little variety of Nemesia. What's this cultivar? This is called Whimsy White. So Whimsy White is a little compact, and oh, they're such good little bloomers. Very little plant, only about 3 to 6 inches, maybe by about 10, 12 inches wide, but little plant. Some other flowers that I always like to talk about, million bells are great for containers. So if you guys are doing containers right now, love million bells. They're not the best plant for the ground, but if you have a hanging basket, they'll bloom all through summer. So you got yellows and semi-doubles and singles. So Calabroscia million bells are really cool. And then some of the odd plants that I like, the chenille plant, we're getting the chenille plants in, and these are really cool. These can take pretty good amount of sun, but if you live really hot where you're at, I'll put them in partial sun. But yeah, the chenille plants are really cool. What other perennials we got? We have my favorite ground cover for in the ground. I love these Roseanne geraniums. This is one of my favorites. You can plant it in front of roses, you can put it anywhere in your garden, and these will bloom almost year round. I love this variety, and we finally got them in. This is a 1 gallon, so Roseanne geranium. And if they ever look bad in late summer or early fall, just trim them all the way back and they'll come right back because they have a very strong crown. So great English variety, Roseanne geranium. Look at the color on that. Isn't that great? I love that color. And the flowers will get a little bit bigger. Flowers are a little small on this because it's in a container, but once you put it in the ground and it wants regular water, the flowers are going to get larger on it. But I love the blooming on this. Such a long bloomer. Some other my favorite perennials. I love Gara. Gara is great. Gara is great for the butterflies. Gara will get about 2 to 3 feet tall, about 3 feet wide. When it's done blooming in the fall, you will cut this all the way back to the ground, but I love Gara. Which one, variety is this? This is Plum Pretty, so this is a good variety of Gara. Got another salvia. This one's called Rose Bicolor, little Greggii salvia that I like, little two-tone. Another one that I like that you don't see as much, it's called Agastache or Hummingbird Mint. This is a great bloomer for summer, and the hummingbirds really do love this plant. They come in colors of peach and pink and tones of like salmon colors, but this is a great little perennial. This one is called Summer Long Lilac. So a great variety, really good variety. So Agastache Hummingbird Mint. I'm going to talk a little bit about fertilizers, and a lot of people ask me so many questions. What fertilizer should I use on this, and how frequently and how often? I keep it very simple. I don't overdo it with the fertilizers, but I try to have some consistency. And even on some trees and some fruit trees, I might only go 3 times a year, but I'll do a spring, I'll do a summer, and I'll do a fall. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the vegetables first. This is a really good one for tomatoes, for peppers, because it's a little higher in calcium. So the tomato fertilizer, but you can use this on anything that fruits too. You could use it on fruit trees, you could use it, but it's just a really good high calcium. So I like this. This is the all-purpose. And when you look at the breakdown, you have 4% nitrogen, and that helps the growth. 6% phosphorus is going to help your fruiting, and it's going to help the root development. And then 2% potassium or potash, that helps out with the stress of the plant. So that's important. So balance is really important. I know a lot of people want really high numbers, and The one thing I really do like with the Down to Earth fertilizer is they're fish meal and fish bone meal based. So they break down over a longer period of time. So they're not just like a one-shot fertilizer. So I like the all-purpose for more of the tomatoes and the peppers and stuff like that. One of my other favorite fertilizers that I love using is I love the Bio Live. So one of the things I really like about this fertilizer that makes it different than the other fertilizers, it has a beneficial fungus called mycorrhizas. So mycorrhizas is really important with soil because it will really help break down fertilizers and it colonizes the roots. So it really does help plants take up more nutrients. So it really is a good fertilizer. So sometimes if the soils, if you're building up your soil in your vegetable garden, if you're building up your soil with your fruit trees, I always will use Bios Alive, and it has a good source of humic acid fertilizer in it too, but love Bios Alive. It's not really high on the numbers, doesn't matter as long as it's balanced. 5 nitrogen, 4 phosphorus, and 2 potassium. This is a good one to get your soil going and get your soil active and really get your soil alive. So when you're putting a lot of your compost down and a lot of your beneficial fungus are getting active, that will help them get active. So that's a good one to use. Another one that I like is I like the fruit tree fertilizer. This is a 624. This is for your peaches, plums, apples, all your stone fruits, So this is a good one. I try to use this about 3 times a year, spring, summer, and fall. So this is a good one to use for your stone fruits. Citrus, this works for citrus and avocados. General rule of thumb with citrus, I do like to feed them pretty early as January, because citrus come out and flower early. So I always want to fertilize them early. The general rule of thumb is I feed them heavier when they're under 5 years old. So that's one of the things. And as they get older, I'm only probably feeding them 3 times a year. But when they're younger, under 5 years old, I might be feeding them every 2 months because I really want to get nutrients to them. I don't let them set a lot of fruit when they're young, but when you get trees too that are more established and they're holding a lot of fruit, I don't like to fertilize when trees are holding a lot of fruit. So I don't feed at all. Sometimes even with bigger trees, I might feed an early spring like a January. I might do a March. I might even do maybe like a May. But once they start to really set up their fruit, I don't feed anymore. They have enough nutrients that they'll uptake. So that's important. Younger trees feed more frequently. Older trees, I don't feed as frequently. So that's with that one. This rose fertilizer is really good because they actually put magnesium in it. So this has a little bit of Epsom salts in it. Good source of magnesium, good fertilizer for everything that blooms. So this being a 484, I could use this on everything. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a rose fertilizer. No, I could use it on perennials, annuals, anything that blooms. Could use it on vines, anything that flowers. That's a really good one. Another fertilizer that they're bringing back in that I really like is, if you guys are really into growing blueberries and strawberries, I love cottonseed meal. So cottonseed meal is not real high in nutrients. 6-2-1, so 6 phosphorus, 6 nitrogen, 2 phosphorus, and 1 potassium. But the one thing that makes cottonseed meal so effective is its acidity. So this is the best fertilizer for blueberries because blueberries like a really lower pH. So sometimes blueberries, I might feed the blueberries every 2 months, but it's the acidity on this. So that they don't need a lot of nutrients, they just want the acidity, and strawberries too. But you could use this on anything that's acidic. And talking about some of the organic insecticides, I'm one of those people, I don't really spray a lot until I see the issues or the problems. I know a lot of people want to spray. I don't really spray that much, but what I do, I'll use, there's a couple of different things that I really like using. So if you have a problem with aphids, I like the organic soaps. And so this is a fatty acid soap, so it doesn't have anything in it that's going to dry out the plant. So it has no degreasers or alcohol in it at all. But my favorite thing to do is to spray this really good on the aphids, let it sit for about 15-20 minutes and just wash them all off. So this is a really good one, and it's good for spider mites and mealybugs and other insects, but really good one. So this one, organic soap, fatty acid soap, that's a good one to use for aphids and for any sucking insects. I do like using BT. for if I have a problem with caterpillars, but mainly if I have a really major problem with hornworms on my tomatoes, or the one that's going to really go active right now is the geranium budworms. They go after geranium flowers and they go after petunia flowers. So if they get bad, BT about every 2 weeks or so, and the hornworms too. But I really don't spray unless I see the damage. That's when I spray, but very effective for that. The sluggos are really good. This is one of the only organic slug baits you can use in your vegetable garden. It is not a methaldehyde base, it's an iron base. So this is based off of iron phosphate. So when it breaks down, it's going to break down into a source of iron in your garden. So for snails, for slugs, this is good to use. This one will actually work for pill bugs and work for earwigs too. But what I like to do is I'll sprinkle it down out in the garden, I'll wet it, and it will sort of absorb and look like a little puddle of mold. And when they cross through that, they absorb it. But safe to use in the garden. Only it's an iron base, so that one's a good one to use around your animals and pets. Another thing that you see a lot too with funguses in the summertime. So when we have cooler mornings, humid mornings, and then we're hotter, the funguses get really active. So this is a good source of an organic fungicide. This is sulfur with an organic soap. So this works really good for mildew, powdered mildew on roses, on tomatoes, on anything. And then it works good for rust too. If you're dealing with rust on your roses, it's good to strip off the leaves and spray the leaves, spray the canes. Very effective for that. Another one is spinosad. Spinosad is very effective too. On this time of year, you'll start seeing the little holes in your rose leaves, and there's a sawfly larvae, and so sawfly larvae get really active in the summertime. And so if you see your roses getting stippled with little holes, then you can use like an organic spray like the spinosad. I like the Captain Jack, so I use the Captain Jack sprays a lot. Thanks for watching me today for gardening checklist for July. And don't forget to stop by with Hummingbird Summer. That's going to be July 11th all the way to August 10th. If you want to see more of the videos, subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And don't forget to sign up for our email subscriptions so you don't miss anything. And thanks for watching us today. This is David. Bye, guys.